morning, Bitcoiners. I hope you're doing well. Pardon the tardiness. Sometimes it happens. We had a couple technical difficulties, but I decided not to freak out live and just take care of them. And it all worked out. It all worked out. We're doing great. We're doing great. Hope you all had a good Labor Day weekend. Hope you all had a good weather. You didn't bake. Hope you all didn't bake. Wasn't that hot where I am anyway. I don't know about you. We're going to find out where it's hot this morning. I'm surprised. It's getting cooler. It's getting cooler, everyone. I didn't think it was going to end. I thought it was max summer forever. So surprised. It hit September here in North America, and suddenly it was chilly yesterday. I had to wear sweaters outside. Can you believe it? Sweaters. I mean, the news was telling me in Canada it wasn't going to end. And then suddenly September comes and it's kind of cool out. It's kind of cool. All right, what's going on? It doesn't say anyone is here, so there might be a problem. I took care of this, or there was a problem when I tried to log in earlier. Oh, there we go. Okay, now it says there's people around. Bitcoin Deb, good morning. Yes, my toes were cold this morning. Yeah, New Hampshire. Christine, good morning. Hope you're doing well, Christine. Thanks for coming. Thomas, out in warm El Salvador. I don't think, I'm not sure it's gonna. I think global warming is worse there, Thomas. It's at the equator, right? So I'm not a weather expert. I know I do the weather here on the show, but I think it's warmer in the middle, like around the equator, But not according to the news. T-Dog, yo. Good morning, gang. My very own member of the Mandela Effect. Drew Hadley, lots of problems on Rumble lately. That's actually that doesn't surprise me. Yeah, I'm basically weirdly not broadcasting. It seems like there's 0 viewers on Rumble, and I'm getting comments, and I'm on the Rumble platform. And usually when I log in, it says I have way more Rumble folks than YouTube, but today it says I have barely any. Let me just count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Let me just check the thing. I gotta see what's up over on Rumble. Before I go any further. Yeah, it's saying no one is, even when I'm going there, it says nobody is viewing. Crazy. I see all your comments. Oh, it says 9 people now. Okay. Which is way, way less than normal. I did put a different, I tagged it as finance and crypto this morning just because I'm playing around with the feeds that I use on Rumble. So maybe that has something to do with it. I normally say it's a podcast. But let's see. Yeah, people are tweeting it out. It's working. Yeah. Okay, there we go. Now it says people are coming in. Okay. Better. Very good. Okay, everyone. Okay, working now. Yeah, thanks a ton, guys. Thanks for your patience. It's not easy, some of these. Nothing on Rumble, Alan Smith says. Yeah, your channel didn't show up this morning. Yeah, that's what's going on. Something's going on, Tom. I wonder if it's because I didn't put I put these different parameters. I don't know. It was just an experiment. I didn't think it would make that big of a difference, but I guess it is. Anyway, guys, technical, boring stuff, right? We don't need to do the boring thing on a Tuesday morning. We need to do the fun stuff, right? We need to do fun. And indeed, the sun was fun this morning. It had a beautiful sunrise. It's starting to come up over the mountains. You see how quick it's gone. It was here just a few days ago, and it's already here. We're going to keep moving. We're going to keep going. You see, I hope you guys can see this sometimes. Now, it doesn't really come up there, huh? But there is you can sort of see it. See that little thing there? That is a Buckminster Fuller Dome. They're my favorites. I'm a huge Buckminster Fuller Dome fan, and I grew up with one. I thought every city had one. You know, Disney has the one with Epcot, and then I had one having grown up in Montreal. Whenever I crossed the bridge into the city, there it was. And so I love the Buckminster Fuller Domes, and they've been a consistent part of my life, and I think they will continue to be. It's one of the things I love about Singapore, by the way. Singapore is just filled with these Buckminster Fuller Domes. Domes are the future, guys, especially up here in the north. Better than air conditioning. We're going to talk about air conditioning today. What's going on with air conditioning? All right. We like to start every one of our Moscow times. Let's just acknowledge the sun came up and Bitcoin's running. Bitcoin's doing great. Let's have a coffee. Talk about what's new. So as you know, I like to start every morning with a weather report. What's the weather like? We call this Moscow time. It's part of our general survey of the news, right? So where is it hot in Moscow time today? Well, it's not hot everywhere, but we have more thunderstorm warnings in Europe. You're not going to believe it, guys, right? Thunderstorm. Again, this is an extreme weather. Bah, bah, bah. Climate change or bad luck. Special section on Bloomberg. Been running all summer. And now thunderstorm warnings. This is in the green section of Bloomberg. They have to warn about thunderstorms across Europe while heat builds. The heat's building. We're going to build some stuff today in Germany. What's going on in Germany? They're going to build heat, right? And they call this a yellow thunderstorm alert. So now we have to learn the different types of thunderstorm alerts. There's different colors, apparently. And this is a yellow thunderstorm, okay? So it's in place for much of UK. And lightning strikes are keeping tourists out of the sea. You can't swim in the Mediterranean because you're going to get because of global warming. It's going to you. So be very careful, right? Don't go swimming either. Don't go swimming. Where else? What else is going on? So at first, you don't really know how to read this, right? Because it's been hot in Australia, right? It's been hot, right? Even though it's winter, it's hot in Australia. Who's ever heard of that? So Australia is hot, but here's the good news, everyone. I'm going to give you lots of good news this morning for the weather and the climate. I got solutions today. Sometimes I come in here and I'm like, you get depressed because I'm like, it's so hot. What are we going to do? It's hot out and the world is burning because no one will turn off their air conditioners. This morning is all about answers, right? So first of all, they got that heat in Australia, right? And it brought a lot of wind in. Well, you want to hear the good news? The high winds that have been lashing southeastern Australia. So last week, right, it was hot, but now the winds are lashing. They're lashing Australia, right? The heat is building and the wind is lashing, okay, over the past few days. But the good news is it's pushed coal-fired power below 50% of the country's power mix for the first time ever, right? So it's been lashing, but the lashing means they've been having more wind. Now, guess what? Here's the answer, guys. If this wind just keeps up, if it just blows forever, we're not going to need coal anymore. Now, some people are going to say the wind might die down and then you're going to have to get the coal again. And some people say it's a problem with all sorts of these energy sources, like with the solar, if it's nighttime and all that, it's not going to work. If it's cloudy, okay? But Australia is honest because with the global warming, maybe the wind will never stop. Maybe it will just keep blowing. And then they're not going to have to use coal anymore because the wind will lash. It will lash, right? So it's going to be great. It's going to be great over there. What else do we got, right? What else do we got? Where else? Now, remember a few weeks ago, I told you that in order to understand what's going on in U.S. politics, you can get the whole picture if you just go talk to the fishermen in Maine, right? Remember that? Remember the Washington Post said the fishermen in Maine have all the answers, and you just got to go talk to the fishermen in Maine, right? It's not just the ones in Maine, okay? It's not just the ones in Maine. It's also in Alaska. You can go talk to the fishermen in Alaska, right? For generations of Alaskans, a livelihood is under threat. Something is broken, they say, in the economics of the state's fishing industry. They say something is broken. Now, when you read the article, you find out that it's because consumers don't want to pay more money for lobsters and crabs, right? Because of inflation, they're poor and they have to eat broccoli and chicken all the time. And some people are eating bugs. And that's probably where we're all going to have to go, is with the bugs. So just go ask those fishermen again, right? This has nothing to do, people out there are going to say, oh, this has to do with economics, even though the article says something is broken in the economics. When you read it, they know it's climate change. It's climate change. It has nothing to do with the cost of living. No. Climate change, folks. It's all climate change. So, but that, at least there's options. Like the article says, right? You can eat other food. You don't have to eat crab, everyone. You don't have to eat crab. There's other things out there that's great, right? Now, this is where things are going to turn, okay? This is where the tide is turning. This is the tipping point for us to win, okay? This is the tipping point for all those people who know the world is going to burn in an incinerator from all of the emissions. We're just going to be breathing in air from those big right-wing SUVs and the big trucks the right-wing people drive, right? All those people driving their right-wing trucks, right? That's the problem, right? That's the problem. But we got solutions in America, and here it comes, right? The New York Times letting us know you can swear off air conditioning, right? This person did it. Let that be an inspiration to you, okay? If you just do your part, right? Eat your bugs, okay? And turn your air conditioners off. There's not going to be any more trouble. The fishermen are going to be able to sell their crab to everybody, and they're going to have no problems, okay? So you got to get off the air conditioner. Everything depends. The whole future of the world. Now, some people said if it's true the whole future of the world depends on getting rid of air conditioners, we would just get rid of them. No. You have to do it, right? Because we can't force those disgusting right-wing people to stop turning their air conditioners on. That would be wrong. We would force them to do many other things, but not turn their air conditioners off, right? That would be too much. That would be too far. So that's where you get into freedom, right? Democrat freedom. You can turn your air conditioner on and off. Who says freedoms are going away? Right now, we're going to have an explicit freedom. Air conditioner on, air conditioner off, okay? That is the future of American democracy. We will be able to choose if we want to save the world and turn off our air conditioner, or we want to burn the world with our air conditioner. That's our choice, okay? We can make the choice. We can do great. It's going to be awesome. Now, there's other solutions. It's not just that. All those people with their crazy right-wing big cars, okay? And now all the good people out there went out and bought EVs, right? But it's not quite working, apparently, right? There's troubles with the EVs. They're not going far enough, and they're having troubles, right? The Washington Post with an answer, right? You might have trouble buying crab, and you have to buy chicken instead, okay? But you got to do your part. Here's the answer, okay? If EVs are stalling, accelerate with hybrids. So if you have an EV, just get rid of it. Go and get a hybrid, okay? Just get a new car. If you just get a new car again today, I think we'll have solved all of our troubles, because then the EVs won't be stalling, and then we'll have cars that are hybrids. Hybrid, okay, just get a hybrid, everyone. Just get a hybrid, and then you're going to be fine. So it's all answers today, but I haven't even got to some of the best answers. This is, I think when I said I was going to spread hope this morning and I'm going to spread joy, I'm going to spread joy this morning with what's going on in the news. Joy. Right? What do we got? This is it. Climate scientists. This is from London, England, where they're fancy and smart, right? Climate scientists, taxpayer-funded plot to create global cooling. They plot to do it, okay? Why radical geoengineers are considering blocking out the sun with mirrors in space. I mean, what could go wrong? What could go wrong? These people are so competent. Now, they can't put a human up in space without Elon Musk's help. But the scientists, they know how to do this stuff. Boeing is going to get its act together. NASA made it a priority to make sure that they have all kinds of rocket scientists who are also refugees, right? So they're getting refugees and then they're making them rocket scientists. NASA started that way. They had refugees from Germany from the 40s, okay? So anyone who's out there saying that NASA isn't like into refugees, you don't know about Operation Paperclip, right? You didn't hear about that, okay? So if you went back and you went out and found out what they did back in the 1940s and 50s, you would know that NASA has consistently been in getting war-torn refugee people to work for them. Okay. It's just what they do. It's what NASA does. They say, give me your refugees and I will make them into rocket scientists. Now, the first load of them that came from Germany, they were already rocket scientists. So that they had a bit of an advantage, right? They had a bit of an advantage. They said, okay, we're going to get some rocket scientists from Germany who are also refugees. Why were they refugees? Some people said it's because they're Nazis. I don't know. They're rocket scientists. They were good people. So they went and made the rockets, and now they're sticking to it over there at NASA because they knew refugees made the best rocket scientists. So they're getting the new refugees, and they don't need Elon Musk's help, okay? Elon Musk might be rescuing the people from the space station, but NASA, they're so busy hiring all of these refugee people, which is more important than anything else. So it's more important than anything else, right? So they're going out and doing that stuff and helping the whole world by soon they're going to have rocket scientists from everywhere. And then all of these rocket scientists are going to take the rockets up and they're going to attach mirrors and they're going to bring the mirrors in space. It's going to be so good. And then they're going to do this and we're going to have no more global warming, and you can run your air conditioner again, even though it'll be cold and you won't need it. And some people say, what are we going to eat without the sun? We'll get to that. We got solutions for that too, right? We got solutions for that too. Now, I got to warn you, because it's technically still summer, even though it's not so warm anymore. And I don't know what's going on. It's getting a little cooler. The Hill in Washington, D.C. reminds us it's still summer because there's a COVID surge. Okay, guys, people are getting COVID again. I had it 2 weeks ago. Remember I had COVID? People had COVID. All kinds of people had COVID. And now people had it again. And now we may have to return to the 2020 pandemic measures, everyone. We may, the Hill said so. The Hill, right? Everybody there, right? There are probably all those writers are really successful. I don't measure people's success by how much money they make. I don't do that, right? So just because there's a bunch of fresh out of college writers making $40,000 a year telling us what to do, right? I don't judge people by that. They're right. They have earned their position at the Hill. They write for a newspaper. They know what they're talking about. For God's sakes, of course, they check these people, right? They know they're not stupid. So they're telling me that coronavirus is back. I've already got my masks. I've already worn them inside. My family doesn't get to talk to me anymore. We all wear masks inside. Very dangerous times, guys. We got to return to 2020. Everyone's so eager because it works so great. All of the things they did in 2020 were perfect. So what's going to be awesome is after this, everyone go out there, get your masks, just start doing 2020 things again, right? That's what we got to do, guys, right? Turn your air conditioners off. Don't just wait. Just go ask a fisherman what's up. Okay, go ask a fisherman, and they're great, and they'll tell you, right? They'll tell you what's up. And then for sure, NASA is going to save us because they're getting their refugee rocket scientists fired up. They're going to go all the way there. They're going to be fired up, right? Who else is fired up? Well, this is our section where we do our gaslighting piece on American politics. That's what's going on. And there's more fired up stuff here, right? Aaron Blake says both Barack and Michelle Obama pitch Vice President Harris as something of a new standard bearer for their political movement. Polls suggest Democrats might even be more fired up to vote for Vice President Kamala Harris as president. Look at the numbers. They're more fired up, people. They're fired up. I can see it everywhere I go. Everywhere I go, people are like, Kamala. They're all fired up, right? It's just great. Yeah, they're doing great, right? Not only that, the Washington Post letting us know here on a personal policy and communication strategy, Harris has the opportunity to do better than Joe Biden. Joe Biden? No. I mean, sometimes I say they go overboard over at the Washington Post, right? Sometimes it feels like they're homers, like they're going for the home team a bit and they're in the bag. right? So this is one of those examples. Like, that's why it's here in Moscow time, because it's like better than Joe Biden. Better than Joe Biden? Whoa. My brain can't comprehend that. That's a lot of better than. That's a lot. That'd be really hard, right? But she is a woman. She's got girl power, right? She has special abilities. So I think it's going to work out. I think she's going to do great. Well, so better than Biden, though. We'll see. We'll see. Now, CNN is letting us know she had the interview on Thursday night, right? And in the exclusive interview, Kamala Harris gave her clearest view, they say. It was her clearest view of what she plans for her presidency if elected. It was very clear. No one was confused. No one thought she looked, some people said, why did they make the stage that way? If you remember, it was a few days ago already. She was kind of short, right? She looked a little bit like a kid, some people said, right? But it's because she had so much presence and gravitas. She had the gravitas, right? So she did great. Some people said she looked at her notes the whole time and didn't really know what was going on. That's not what I saw, right? She gave her clearest view yet. That's true. That's 100% true. It was the clearest yet. I won't argue with that. It's the clearest view yet, right? Very, very good stuff. Very, very good stuff. We got some more here. This is a big mystery over here, right? North Carolina joins Michigan and Wisconsin in saying they can't. My hands are tied. I can't. My hands are tied. I can't do it. I can't remove Bobby Kennedy from the ballot in swing states. And that is what they call in the Washington Post. That's thickening the 2024 plot. It's thickening the plot. It's so thick, right? Just like they say, RFK wants off the ballot in 10 states. No way. No, Kennedy. You can't choose to not run for president. I know they sued you to not run for president and tried to ban you from running president. And then you agreed, and then they're like, no, you have to run for president. That's how it works, okay? That's totally normal. No one should see beyond the plot thickening. That sums it all up. The plot is thickening, right? The plot is thickening, right? And now, wait till you see what Trump is up to. If the plot wasn't thickening there, wait till you see what Trump is up to, right? Kamala is just out there trying to do better than Biden, right? Normal, right? Everyone's all fired up, right? And what does Trump come and do, right? What does Trump... First of all, I just said RFK doing this stuff, right? Crazy. Like, he said he wanted to run for president, and now he doesn't want to? No. That thickens the plot. That thickens it, right? Okay. Now, but what is Trump up to, right? Wait till you hear. What do you hear he's up to? Look at this. Donald Trump's attacks. He's been attacking her, right? He's attacking her, all right? And Kamala Harris underscores an increasingly nasty race. He's attacking her. What? And it's not even that bad. It gets way worse. Look at this. Trump campaign uses statements from Gold Star families to attack Harris. So if you didn't see this story over the weekend, it was that everyone was going on last week saying Trump used, and he went to a cemetery. He was invited by all these families that lost loved ones. And they said, hey, why don't you come on the anniversary and we're going to do a thing. And then you know what he did when he was there? You're not going to believe it. He took pictures at a cemetery. Okay. So rightly, justifiably, everyone freaked out and said, you can't use that for campaign props. You can't do that. And they said all these kinds of things about him, right? And then this is where it gets even crazier. That wasn't even where he attacked them. No. All the families. So when the news started speaking for the offended families, okay, because he went and took pictures there, all right, what did Trump do? What a jerk. He went and got all those families to make statements saying Trump is great and Harris is a jerk and she hates us and doesn't care about us. So it was military families who lost loved ones who helped Trump attack Harris. Can you believe that? Can you believe what he's doing to the victims, right? He's twisting them, obviously. He's going, and you know how Trump is, right? He explains things to people. He gets them to like him, right? And then they go and do stuff that benefits him, right? Like attacking Harris for using the cemetery to attack Trump, which is totally justifiable when she does it, right? So it was the latest effort by the Trump campaign to defend itself after the campaign defied a ban. The latest effort to defend itself is more attacking. Gosh, Gosh, when will this Trump learn, right? Gosh, it's just terrible. I just can't even tell. Now, all this is going on. I'll go back to the fishermen, right? What's going on with the fishermen and what's going on with the economy. Trump keeps bringing it up. Kamala keeps saying it's fine, right? It's fine, right? This is an example of how fine it really is, right? Dollar General shares crater 20% as retailer cuts outlook, blaming financially constrained customers. Well, I mean, everything in the dollar store doesn't even cost $1 anymore. So it's normal. This is false advertising anyway. They deserve this. Now, Americans not being able to afford stuff at the highly inflated dollar store is not a sign that the economy is unhealthy and that Americans are having trouble. It's just the people who can't, plan, and it's just the dumb people. It's like mostly MAGA people too, right? They're the Dollar General all the time because they're stupid. Who would even shop there, right? We want the Dollar General out. It's ugly in our towns. I have a Dollar General in my town in Vermont, and I'm telling you, it's the most disgusting right-wing people that go there. I see them all the time, right? It's the people who like their guns, gun people, right? So it's okay. Don't worry, right? And some people out there complaining that, America is for the plutocrats and that no one gets a fair shake anymore. And even these Dollar General people, no one cares about them, right? No. Look, the New York Times has some great tips. They know what's actually causing you trouble in life. They know why the Dollar General is becoming inaccessible. They know why the fishermen in Alaska is having so much trouble. The answer has always been right in front of us. The Constitution is sacred, but it's dangerous, guys. The New York Times reminded us this weekend that it's dangerous. And it's dangerous for reasons like we've been talking, right? It's because all these nasty people get to go and spread misinformation because of the First Amendment, right? And then the Second Amendment is even worse. It gives everyone guns. Guns kill people. So you got these two pesky little amendments, and they've become dangerous. People are killing with the guns. They're saying misinformation, which is leading to more people dying, right? So one of the biggest threats to America's politics might be the country's founding documents. Thank you. Someone had to say it. And I'm so glad that the New York Times is on it. Now, they've tried before, so I can't say that it's not in line with the stuff they come up with, right? Of course, elections are bad for democracy. We covered that here on Moscow Times. That was one of the greats. That was one of the more important versions. They really tried their best last year, right? Elections, the worst, right? They tried this too, right? The First Amendment is out of control, right? It's out of control. We saw that on July 2nd, right? It's out of control. So, and we all know about the Second Amendment with the guns. So, it really is that dangerous. It's that dangerous, right? It's that dangerous. And what's more, it's not just the Constitution. It's what it enables, right? Just like they said, the First Amendment is out of control. Who else is out of control with the First Amendment? We heard from an economist, Robert Reich. He's an economist, everyone. He said this weekend, Elon Musk is out of control. It's the same out of control as the First Amendment. The First Amendment's out of control. Elon Musk is out of control. They're out of control. Out of control, right? What are we going to do with these people, right? Here's how to rein them in. Thank God, Robert Reich let us know how we're going to rein it in. It's actually pretty simple, right? So regulators around the world should just threaten Musk with arrest. That'll solve it. It's easy. Come on. So I didn't know the answer was right in front of us. I didn't know it was right there. You just arrest him. I didn't know it was right in front of us like that. Just arrest the guy. Like, what are we waiting for? I don't care if he's going to save those astronauts in space. As I said, NASA is hiring refugee rocket scientists. Remember, Elon wouldn't do that. He's getting sued for exactly that. I mean, NASA hired refugee rocket scientists in the 40s and 50s. Why can't Elon Musk? That's what I want to know. Why can't Elon Musk hire refugee rocket scientists? They're everywhere. I've met them. I saw them do it from Germany in the 40s and 50s. So if Germany can produce refugee rocket scientists, why can't everyone else? Elon Musk isn't even using the refugees to rescue those astronauts that Boeing left up in the station, right? No. Arrest them. We'll get other refugee rocket scientists and they'll fix it. It's going to be fine. We don't need Musk for that, guys. We don't need him. He's not important, right? He's not important. The Guardian, not done. They had done this one a little while ago. Elon Musk should face arrest if he incited the UK rioters. Remember, we talked about that a couple of weeks ago. That's when he was out there saying that the UK had all kinds of First Amendment or freedom of speech troubles. They don't have the First Amendment. I forgot. The king let that go a long time ago. So it's like Elon's out there just doing all this shit, not helping anyone. And you wouldn't even believe it. This one is even crazier. This came out over the weekend. And they put this in finance and economy, which is where it belongs. Okay, this is Elon Musk in finance and economy. Elon Musk and others urging people to have more kids are essentially calling for a Ponzi scheme, experts say. Obviously, that's what he's doing. He's trying to get people to get born, and then they're going to buy Tesla stock in 20 years. Obviously, that's his plan, guys. Obviously. He's got Starlink stock to sell. He's got Tesla stock to sell. I think the Boring Company already went out of business. What a loser. And Tesla and Twitter, X, is not even a public company anymore. It's private. He doesn't want to take it that way. So he's got all these stocks to sell, right? He's got to sell those stocks for Starlink and Tesla, right? And if I had a company with that much stock and I said, oh my God, there's not enough people to buy it in the next generation, what am I going to do? I would say to everyone, I would try and convince them all, because that would be my number one priority. What's going to happen to my stock in 20, 25 years? What's going to happen? He's got his answer, but his answer is just a Ponzi scheme, obviously. Okay, and it's so good that Jason Ma, I don't know who he is, but I bet you he's a genius, and he gets to write finance in the finance and economy section here, which is appropriate. It's appropriate, right? It makes so much sense. This is one of the greatest financial this is penetrating journalism at its best. All right. This is taking things like I wouldn't even be able to connect Ponzi scheme and the birth rate and the collapse of civilization. That's the fake front that Elon uses, right? That population collapse is going to end civilization, right? That whole thing. No, come on. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. It's a Ponzi, everyone. It's a Ponzi. And now finally, right? We've talked about Trump attacking the wonderful Kamala, who's going to do better than Joe Biden and who's awesome. Speaks so clearly. Right? Everyone understands. She cares about us. We've talked about Elon and all the trouble, right, with his no hiring of refugee rocket scientists and his Ponzi scheme here, right? But the news finally actually got the number one target that we got to focus on. It's probably the most important thing. It's what it all comes down to. Everything you can understand, the whole world from this next Moscow Time iteration. Indeed, the Time magazine has finally called him out, the strong man, right? How El Salvador President Nayib Bukele became the world's most popular authoritarian. Now, I had an argument with a Canadian this weekend about this very thing, right? So I said, I love Bukele. He's really great. And he's like, you like strongmen dictators, I guess. And I said, well, I mean, what's the difference here in Canada? He says, we have the rule of law. We have the rule of law in Canada. And I said, well, yeah, for a little while we didn't, right? When they did the trucker thing. The truckers were the worst. They're the worst, he said. And I said, okay, it's not my definition of strong men, whatever. But your threshold was 30 years, you declare martial law for like a weekend after 30 years of occupation by a Satanist face tattoo gang. Some people would say honking of horns over a weekend was as bad as 30 years of occupation, and that's the thing that triggers martial law, right? That's what triggered martial law for a little while in El Salvador, was the occupation of the cartels and the gangs over a 30 or 40-year period, right? So, but, in the end, I just had to agree with him. I just had to say, you're right. A weekend of horn honking in Ottawa is the same trigger as 30 years of occupation by a cartel that killed everybody and made El Salvador the murder capital of the world. They're the same thing. I was wrong. Okay. Sometimes I'm not able to maybe admit when I'm wrong or something like that. I said to him, wow, you're right. Canada has the rule of law more than El Salvador. We're doing great. So he's a strong man. He's a strong man. And that's our theme today, strong men versus strong men, right? So strong men versus strong men. So if you just change the, hyphenate it or not hyphenate it or split it into two words, you kind of get where I'm going with this, right? And by strong men, they don't really have to be men. They could be something else too, right? Because we're not, it's a spectrum here, right? We don't have any trouble with the trans people. So indeed, Nolan was the title. Strong men versus strong men. Yeah, it's just, well, you'll see as I go on, we're going to talk about more than just man, right? It's not just strong man versus strong men. No, it's plural, two plurals. Yeah. Because we're going to find out what strong men are in a second, right? So first up, a strong man, a two-word strong man, Mike Benz. So this is everything to do with what's been going on with Tesla or Elon Musk in Brazil over the weekend and Twitter. So if you didn't see what happened, the Brazilian judge, Alex, whatever, Morales or whatever his name is, warned Twitter and then said they would shut it down and ban it in Brazil if he didn't do something, put a representative that could be served papers and that kind of stuff. So a representative for Twitter in Brazil. So he didn't do that. Elon didn't do it. But then the best part was the judge went and seized Starlink's assets, and they've made a fine now of like $10,000 a day that people use VPNs. So VPNs are now going through the roof in Brazil. Everyone talking about it. But the actual connection here, as always, follow the money and follow the influence. And Mike Benz knows who all these people are and how it all operates. And he says the U.S. State Department called in massive favors and leveraged personal connections to build voting machines for Lula-aligned Brazil officials. And then the CIA warned Bolsonaro not to mess with or cast doubt on all the new U.S. State Department secured voting machines determining this election. So again, my prediction for 2024 has always been that the ability of Bitcoiners to, let's say, educate and enlighten people on election integrity is our most important task. More important than even explaining what Bitcoin is. We can explain election systems through our understanding of Bitcoin. That's the major advantage. The don't trust, verify meme, which I talk about all the time, is one of our most vital weapons for mimetic propagation of Bitcoin, but it's also one of our most timely areas that we know a lot about. The trade-off between the engineering trade-off between convenience and credibility, which Bitcoiners inherently understand because of their rejection of crypto for its optimization for convenience over credibility, is really where Bitcoin contrasts with crypto. So because we understand this trade-off, because we are betting our whole lives on don't trust, verify, I would say we are, right? Not necessarily our physical corporal lives, but our careers, our energy, our time all goes towards the propagation of that meme, really, right? So because Bitcoiners understand this, because we're able to look through all of this stuff more, we're going to catch them this time, which continues to be my main prediction. The main difference that Trump has this time in 2024 versus 2020 and 2016 even is he's getting the strong men, not the one word, not dictator type people. He's getting the capable, intelligent men, women who can explain all this stuff and who can actually move the needle. He's getting the high IQ supermen to join him this time. These people weren't around for him last time in 2020, which meant that in the world of no one believing in the election, which is what's going to happen this time, my prediction for 2024 is no one believes the election, and it turns into a narrative spin race. And in a narrative spin race, because there's not going to be any way, oh, you won and you get it and everyone just agrees. No one is going to believe the result on either side. And in order to move forward after that, I think we're going to have two presidents for quite a while. People acknowledging two people won. And then after that, it's all going to be a race to form a narrative that the majority of Americans get behind. And so having these strong men, having these men like Mike Benz, and we're going to keep talking about others, is a major advantage, right? Just look at what Nick Carter noticed over the weekend, right? Nick Carter, I'd say a really good example of a Bitcoin strong man, right? We've got the buff pictures now. He fought that guy. Totally great, right? And then he says, funny, the left has been nonstop warning about the rise of authoritarianism, but it's in fact leftist regimes in the UK, France, and Brazil that have set the standard for shockingly authoritarian behavior in recent weeks, right? So UK, of course, was all those riots, and they emptied the jails to put the people with the memes and the people talking online, the people insulting online. They're in jail now. France, of course, by arresting Pavel Durov last week with really not much process. And then, of course, what we're talking about here in Brazil. Then you've got Preston Burns. So everyone's still reacting to this Robert Reich thing. This caused a huge stir over the weekend. Robert Reich, by the way. You got to see the pictures of Robert Reich as well. He's like not 5 feet tall. No way. I would like to see him wrestle. I would like to see someone wrestle him just out of curiosity for his pint-sized body. I just want to see someone like, I'm against midget tossing. Okay. I don't like midget tossing. You know, it's banned in parts of Canada. We used to do it. I was at the Brome Fair this weekend, which is our local agricultural fair. And I remember a time when people tossed midgets there. I do. Now you can only toss toilet bowls, which is fine, right? But so he's not technically a midget. So you're not breaking the rules if you throw him. So I really want to see him body slammed or thrown somewhere. That's just a weird little thing in my brain, right? You don't have to be like that. It's just something I have in my brain. I would like to see what happens. Just because he's so mini, right? I just want to like, and I don't want him hurt. Like throw him into a crash mat or like gymnastics padding or something. I don't want him injured at all. I just want to see how far you can throw the guy. I'm curious. Like it's like not, you know, I'm injured from space. So that's just something I want to see, right? That's just me. But here, Preston Burns saying using the FTC Act in the manner Reich suggests would be unconstitutional. So there are no grounds to arrest Musk in the U.S. What guys like Reich want is foreign powers to use their regulations to do what America cannot, to silence Americans first, to silence Americans. It's vile. Indeed, that's what's going on here. So that's why I bring up those same things with elections and free speech. You've got to use these other systems in order to push and get control over Americans, because luckily there is the First and Second Amendment, right? So it's different. Narwhal Tacos says midgets lost jobs to toilet bowls. That had to hurt. Yeah. The other ones that they don't get them in the movies anymore. They're not allowed in Snow White, so it's not a good time for them, right? Now, I'm not arguing for midget tossing at all, right? I actually don't think it's great, but the toilet bowls work fine, right? But that's what I'm saying. Robert Reich doesn't qualify. He's not technically he's just a person, so he can volunteer to be thrown. Maybe that will be his job after all of this. Maybe that'll be what he does, right? I'm Robert Reich. I'm here at the fair. See how far he can throw me, right? That would be, he has a career there. But here's where it's coming down to, and this is what I mean by that. Here's a pretty interesting note that I saw on the internet. It's not exactly true, okay? And I don't believe you can divide so easily between men and women. There is a spectrum, okay? There are women, who have high testosterone levels, who can work and participate in highly conflict oriented male environments filled with, you know, toughness and ego and all that stuff. So, but you can still generally separate them by the sexes. So this is what we see. This is what this person said. People who can't defend themselves physically, women and low T men, parse information through a consensus filter as a safety mechanism. They literally do not ask, is this true? They ask, will others be okay with me thinking this is true? This makes them very malleable to brute force manufactured consensus. If every screen they look at says the same thing, they will adopt that position because their brain interprets it as everyone in the tribe believing it. Only high T alpha males or aneurotypical people, hey autists, are actually free to parse new information with an objective, is this true filter. This is why a republic of high status males is best for decision making. Democratic, but a democracy only for those who are free to think. So this is more or less what is going to come, okay, on a Bitcoin standard and all that. If you guys believe, if you really believe that Bitcoin is ushering in an era where all the sludge people are suddenly smarter and are able to participate in democracy, you're watching the wrong movie, okay? That's not what's happening here. I would have preferred that world, okay? But then COVID happened, and it made me realize it's not going to happen, okay? We're not running Bitcoin up through remittance payments because every single person in the world is like, hey, I don't like government overspending. And I'm really objecting to the collateralization of our birth certificates in order to get our country into debt. And then we make the debt the money. They're never going to understand that. And it's not even on their radar. So that's not the path forward, unfortunately. The path forward is to get the high value males and the high value females, the people who understand this stuff, the people who are not susceptible to the manufactured brute force consensus that they talk about in the statement. And that piece is how we're going to move forward, and why Kamala Harris is such a great opponent for Trump. Because just look what she said about the whole Robert Wright thing. Now, this is months ago or years ago even. But this is her talking about X. And here she comes and says, social media is directly speaking to millions and millions of people without any level of oversight or regulation. Right? So she's come out, and now this clip is just perfectly timely, but she said it. And just like she says, my values haven't changed. So we're getting a perfect example of this high T situation here, right? The ability to parse information. That's exactly what she said, right? You need regulation because people can't ask. They don't know how to do it. Is this true? And they don't know how to orient themselves unless someone is telling them. But we're not going to continue to orient society for their benefits because it can be exploited. And we've seen the exploitation, and we're not going to do it anymore. So this is all setting up what is called the contrast principle. This is something that I've used many, many times. It's what this show is about, right? So I use the contrast principle every single day. So this little blue square is the exact same size, but as long as I put these little black ones next to it and I change the size of the black ones, you actually feel like this blue one is smaller than that one. It's not. These were made by the same stencils. It's exactly the same size. But it becomes an optical illusion, of course. But seeing two things next to each other can create that contrast principle. So when you see Kamala talking like this, when you see Kamala in all of her ways being contrasted against these males, you're going to see something that you haven't seen before. Not only that, it's not just the males, right? Oh yeah, well, I'll get back to the Elon Musk and the bank thing. It's not just the males. Look at Nicole Shanahan this weekend. What did I say was going to happen with Nicole Shanahan? What did I say? What did I tell you, breakup gang people? I said the minute I saw Nicole Shanahan, I said she's going to be a major story in the 2024 election, because she's bringing that same, just as I said, you can't separate it really in the way this piece did back here, right? You can't really exactly honestly separate it with men and women. Now, in reality, it is separated by men and women, but you can't make a rule like that because there's going to be so many exceptions to the rule, like Nicole Shanahan, right? So Nicole Shanahan, someone who's focusing on health, focusing on the health of her children, the food supply system. Really one of the reasons why Kennedy is going on the Make America Healthy Again tangent, right? Or focusing on that one area. Now, that is who Kennedy is, right? Kennedy is that guy. So it's not like he's like, oh, I'm going to copy notes from Nicole Shanahan. That's not what's going on. It's part of what he does. But her coming in on this story is a major help, right? And creates that contrast principle. So when you see her here, she did this great video, Finish the Story, Bobby. Didn't I tell you the first time I saw Bobby Kennedy? Now, not all of you were here back then, but go back to 2022. SBF is collapsing. It's November, and Tucker Carlson is still on Fox, and he does the thing. He does a piece on Richard Nixon, saying, who was the most popular president in the history of America? It's Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon, when he was elected in 1972, there has never been an American president more popular than Richard Nixon. He was the most popular ever. And the whole point of the article, or the whole point of the piece that Tucker did that night, was to tie the solution to the deep state solution to Nixon's power and popularity was a character assassination. Now, Tucker takes that character assassination and ties it back to the Kennedy story and says, because they couldn't do the Kennedy plan, which was, it was too messy, they went with the character assassination plan. Trump has faced both of them, right? Trump faced character assassination, the Nixon plan for a long time. They tried the Kennedy plan as well. That failed too. So what I said in 2022, and that's where I had known about RFK before. Okay. I'd been following everything with his Fauci stuff. I watched him on all the early podcasts around COVID. I followed all that stuff. I knew RFK way back because one of his original things was in Quebec about one of our rivers. So I had known him for a long time. I didn't like him at the time. I didn't want the river thing meddling in Quebec. I like dams. We got enough rivers in Quebec. Now there's parts of it I didn't understand. I could probably be swayed. I was a kid who was like against people coming around Quebec telling us what to do. So I've known about him since then. I always liked him. I was never anti, and especially when he came out against Fauci in 2020, 2021, 2022, I was totally into it. So I already had a lot of context for him when he came out and said that Tucker's thing that night was the bravest example of American journalism in 40 years or whatever he said. Because he tied the Nixon character assassination to the Kennedy assassination and explained how everything kind of went wrong then. And so this video here is something Nicole Shanahan's team came together. And what I said at the time in 2022 was the simulation desires and is oriented towards the most entertaining outcome. And I said in November 2022 that the narrative threads of the Nixon character assassination and the Kennedy physical assassination would enter the 2024 race via RFK, because that story had to come to an end because it's actually related to what we're going through in 2020 and 2024. The actual story begins in 1964 when all of this stuff goes down. So he's killed in 63, but the real regime starts in 64, which is how you get into Vietnam and all that stuff. So it's when the US president became less powerful. Now, the Kennedys are responsible for this. That's an important point. RFK is not just a hero coming to fix his family's reputation and their victims. That's not exactly what happened. Eisenhower, when he gave his, and that's why it starts with that. Eisenhower here is the guy on the screen. Eisenhower gives the military-industrial, beware the military-industrial complex speech in his farewell address. The reason he does it is because his vice president, Nixon, didn't win. And Eisenhower was the supreme commander of the Allied forces, did not believe in the Cold War, did not believe in Russian military power, thought it was all just an excuse to ramp up military spending in America, and he didn't like it. He wanted to disarm America. He did not want to continue this thing. And the truth is, when Kennedy stole the election from Nixon, okay, he did. He stole it using the cartels and the gangs out of Chicago. When he stole the election out of Nixon, from Nixon, you had Eisenhower saying, was it worth it? Right? All this work I did in my 8 years of presidency to keep these people out, Kennedy just welcomed in, because Kennedy was elected on the missile gap theory. Okay, Kennedy was elected by saying, we're too weak. Russia has more missiles than we do. We got to spend our money on military in order to beat them. So he made a lot of shady deals to be president. Okay, he did. He is the man who let the fox in the henhouse. I think he let the fox in the henhouse. Okay, that's my own analysis. I'm not copying it off of anyone. It's my understanding of what happened from 1960 to 1963. Now, he regretted it. He regretted it instantly. He realized some of the things that Eisenhower was up to, he did not quite get, right? He wasn't ensconced in the US military apparatus for 30 years like Eisenhower was. And so he thought it was just politics. When he won the president, he quickly found out he wasn't the president. Eisenhower had been, because he knew how to handle these people. By the time Kennedy comes around, he doesn't understand what's going on anymore. And now he's still a hero in that he just did not understand he did not understand the degree to which it was actually threatening the country. I think he figured it out quick, which is why he knew the CIA for the 1,000 days of his presidency. He knew he wasn't in control of the CIA. He discovered it really in the Bay of Pigs time, but he was allowing military spending to go on. He invited it in. So Kennedy has a duty to his genes, because it was a mistake. I don't believe Kennedy would have ever let them run loose just to use missile gap is what he called it, just to campaign on missile gap, right? It was probably just a campaign thing he took and was like, that sounds good, right? But I don't think he understood all the implications at the time. Or even if he did, I don't think he understood the consequences at the time. Now, I'm mind reading Kennedy, who's long since dead, living in a different time than me altogether. But still, what I think is the trajectory he put the country on, and it was too late. He couldn't stop it. That's why he was killed, right? He couldn't stop what he had started. And so the fox enters the henhouse during the Kennedy regime, and we're still living with the fox running the henhouse now. And so that's why, again, right, when Vivek says we're not running against Kamala Harris or Joe Biden, we're running against a system, it's the system that Eisenhower warned us about. And indeed, Finish the Story, Bobby, it's basically out of a dream that I had in 2022. That story has to come to an end in order to fix things now is inevitable. And so that's what she's saying here now. And the health part is a big part of it, right? So I understand this whole thing goes on health. And then she did another one this weekend where I guess Matt Walsh did some engagement farming saying raw milk, blah, blah. But then we found out all this stuff about raw milk. So she does a great thing here. But again, it's not just the strong men. It's having these women who are no longer worried about what their friends think and looking just like we heard in this high tea male thing over here, right? Nope, I went too far. Just like here, when it says that they literally do not ask if it's true, they ask others if it's okay, right? The consensus filter as a safety mechanism, right? What other people think. Now, Bitcoiners have been doing this for a very, very long time, right? Because we've been told you can't do this. So we haven't been looking at what are people going to think about me if I'm into Bitcoin? We're way over that. That's a long time ago. The stupid people are still trying to judge you for being into Bitcoin. What's it worth now? And then you tell them how much it's worth, and they're like, oh. When they don't know, they still think they can talk like they still know it all, you know? But indeed, go back to the Nicole Shanahan thing, right? Just last night, you get RFK, right? Again, this is the strong men. This is what Trump did not have last time. He's got Nicole Shanahan with these great videos. RFK back in it. And what's he doing with this occasion, right? Talking about the seed oils, talking about the health, talking about American vigor and vitality, and all of these really important things. And again, the main advantage going into the 2024 outcome is that having capable people able to do these things, able to explain what's going on, able to continue to communicate, right? Now, when you get Robert Reich and all these other people, right, and you get Kamala Harris and RFK, do you understand what Elon did this weekend while all this was going down? Did anyone pick up on what he did this weekend as a matter of just incredible success and amazingness, right? Look at this. So he launched 2 rockets from either coast of America. Okay, this is just this weekend. Okay, each of them goes up, and they have a special payload of Starlink satellites. The satellites, I don't know if you've ever seen the deployment of a Starlink satellite. It's amazing, right? They fly out of the rocket, low Earth orbit. So they're all there. So he comes out, and it's a double F9 launch with from both coasts, right? It just added 26 satellites, bringing it to 168. But the point of this is all for T-Mobile. I'm a T-Mobile user. Starlink direct-to-mobile phone internet is exclusively with T-Mobile for the U.S. in the first year, then other carriers after. We're starting off working with one carrier in each country, but ultimately hope to serve all carriers. This is the direct-to-space internet link that we've always missed. The internet cannot be shut off now. Elon has stopped it, right? And so Wall Street Silver here says Starlink scares many of the totalitarian governments. They cannot control the flow of information in their countries. So this is exactly what they tried to do over in Brazil. They seized their money. They seized their money. So he says our satellites launching in a few months have inter-satellite laser links, so no local down-local link needed. Probably active in 4 to 6 months. Then Michael Sheet says, how does transmitting into a country without a local downlink work on the regulatory side? And Elon says they can shake their fists at the sky. And that's all it's going to be, guys. These stupid sludge people can do nothing more now than shake their fist at the sky and say, Robert Reich said, I read in the Washington Post, Kamala said, don't be racists, right? It's not going to work anymore because Trump now has people like Elon, people like Vivek, people like RFK, people like Nicole Shanahan, and they're launching fucking satellites into space that give you direct internet onto your phone, okay? This is what strong men, 2 words, do. And it's a major difference. It's a major difference. Think of the ability to run narrative spin. This is the best they have. This is what the sludge people have, right? They have to get weak T, low T Daniel Dale, and they got to get all these losers, all these pathetic losers you've never heard about. They can't move the needle, and they're all trying to gaslight, right? CNN, oh, Kamala, right? It's that versus rocket into space with your own satellites that work on your phone so the internet can't get shut off. Who's going to win? Right? Which is why you had a lot of people, Cernovich with one of the great notes, right? I've never felt better about Trump's chances, not even in 2016. A lot will happen before November. For me, the confidence boost really rose when conservatives, he puts in quotations, began attacking Trump for not being pro-life enough. An op like that doesn't happen if Harris is winning. And that's indeed what happened, right? So if you're looking at all this abortion stuff right now in America, oh, Trump is getting, people are mad about the abortion thing, right? Oh, no, Trump is going against the abortion, the pro-life people. That was all an op. Right, that's to try and create these narratives that Trump is on the defensive. It's inside of his own. It's inside of his own party. They're all mad at him. Right, that's what's going on. Now you get this guy. Life is electric, bro. Don't fall for the doomer shit. That's for losers and normies scared of their own shadows. Walk around like God sent you and smile at everyone you see. Spread light and abundance. Build things and take chances. This is the best time in history. That's what Bitcoiners are going to embrace as we go forward. Even if there is no president, do you know how awesome that is for us? Even if they steal it, do you know how awesome that is for us? It's hilarious. It's hilarious. And there's no way we can lose off of that. There's just no way. The other op that I saw this weekend indeed was the Hells Angels one. You see this Hells Angels thing, you got the gangs that have taken over territory in Colorado, buildings and stuff like that, right? America's like now occupied fucking gang stuff, which is what we predicted here on the breakup, that would happen. It would get worse, that we would start getting cartel takeovers of towns and stuff like that happening. So there's a thing all weekend where the Hells Angels were coming to save them, right? Total op. It's a total op. What they want is right-wing people to be online saying, I love the Hells Angels, go get those blackies. That's how bad things are, okay? That actually happened in America this week, that someone ran an op, a fake news op, telling you the Hells Angels, trying to get you excited about Hells Angels, right? Because you hate the other gangs more and that they're the home team gang. They tried to trick people into embracing the Hells Angels, right? So they're going to keep playing dirty, but too many smart people know the difference. Too many of them have seen what's going on, right? And that's why, whoops, I don't know what's going on. Stop. That was yesterday's. What is happening? Delete. Go back. Play. All right. So that's why with the Georgia's got all kinds of stuff going on with elections. I guess they're getting caught. But again, that's what's going to happen this time. They're going to get caught doing it, right? And the difference in getting caught will be that you've got these high T capable males that can't have their internet shut off, that are going to be able to explain what happened. And they're going to be able to win a narrative war against any of these folks. And it's all these sort of weakness things, right? Elon's his friend. Here's the one where we have no ammo and we're getting our asses kicked out and wherever in the world they're losing, right? So it's going to be like this stuff more and more. And the ability to talk about safety in a credible way, the ability to talk about threats in a credible way is going to be more impactful from the smart, capable people. So that's it. That's it. China just tried the same trick. Unfortunately, their rocket blew up, littering the sky with millions of bits of space junk, now a hazard to many of others. I didn't see that. Well, we'll take care of it. He landed the rockets this weekend too. They were amazing. Right. No. He's not a champion of mankind, guys. It's a Ponzi. He's trying to sell his stock. All of this is to sell his stock in 20 years, guys. No. 30 years, because at 20, they're not going to be rich enough to buy it, right? So the whole thing is he's the richest man in the world today, right? But he wants a comeback in 30 years. That's what he's really working for. Robert Reich. Yeah, Munchkin. Yeah, Munchkin. Toss the midget from space. Remember the what was his name again? He was not Ali G. Borat, right? Throw the Jew down the well. It's got to be one of the funniest skits ever. When you change Kamala to Malaka, it means dumbass. Yeah, no kidding, huh? We got our man Billy Lio here. He can tell us all about that. The breakup sounds better from SUV radio speakers. Thanks, Greg. Didn't know that. Highly recommend Local Hero. Great film, and the lobster scene is hilarious. I'll check that out. Haven't seen Everyday Walking with Christ in weeks. Is that so? He's retweeted the stuff, so maybe he's just not catching it live. Right? All right, team. That's about all I got. Well, we got all the viewers came, so that's good. Great show. Thanks, Seaberger. I appreciate it. This has been an important session. I'm really depressed now, but I'll get over it. Thanks, Nolan and gang. Must return to the sledge. Hopefully be back tomorrow. We got sludge. That was a good one. All right. We're going to win, Billy says. Yeah, no problems. No problems. Veteran says a very accurate historical perspective. Look, I don't begrudge JFK for what he did. It was an accident. I don't think he intended it, right? But the truth is, finish the story, Bobby. If you're living in a world of honor and family responsibility, and if he's doing his monarchist campaign, this is why we have monarchs, because of things like this. They can't let it go. He can't. He's the male heir. He is the oldest male, the male heir, the primogeniture male of the Kennedy name. This is his mess. Accident or not, it's his mess, and he's got to fix it, right? Johnny Rico, one love. Fate made it a mess for him to take care of, and it's not easy, but I think he's had the life that you need to do this stuff. So there you go. All right, team. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.